Okay, here's a relatively short video, hopefully, on the resource manager. So what we need to make sure is that the resource manager is one of our active palettes. So we can go Window, Palettes, and we can see there's a little tick next to the resource manager. The resource manager, probably, when you, if you haven't fiddled around with it, will be in this auto hide mode. So when I move my mouse across the top, it shows and then vanishes again. That can be really useful, and you can just keep it out of the way at the top of the screen. If you want to pin it for some reason, if you just click on that little thing at the top, hopefully I'll zoom into that when I edit this, you'll be able to see that it's now permanently open. So, and now in order for me to go through the different parts of it. So again, we'll try and zoom in on these. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 icons here, which are the main thing really. So first of all is without any of them active, we can see the open files at the moment. So at the top of the screen we've got the Athenaeum 2020 and an untitled one of those auto backups, and an untitled file with nothing in it. Well, there's a single circle in it because I was playing around with it earlier on. So by doing that, we can see what's in each open file. So if I wanted to use this circle in the Athenaeum, for example, I can double click on that, and if I go back into the Athenaeum again, just move this out of the way, and I can place the circle. So I don't need to do any cutting, pasting or anything like that from one to another. I can simply use any of the resources back and forward. So I can take a non-removable floor palette here and put it into my untitled blank screen here. So you'll now see the untitled has the non-removable floor palette and the previously drawn circle, and the Athenaeum has both those things in it. So we can, by having files open, we can transfer symbols and resources between them, no problem at all. The Vectorworks, if you click this little V here, we open up the Vectorworks library, and then we can see all these libraries here. So there's lots and lots of content. I would take a little bit of time to have a look through the content just to be familiar. There's lots and lots of content. If you find things that you use a lot, so again we go to File, Truss ProLight, so we've got, like, say there's the H30V straight truss, for example, in here. So what I've done is I've previously downloaded these because I was working with them. So again, I'll zoom in on this. So some of these icons have a little arrow, meaning that I haven't downloaded them yet, and the H30V doesn't, because I've already downloaded this. If I right click on any of those, download and install, and that will bring the content from the web onto my computer. So I've got just a faster access to these. You could download all of ProLight's, and I'm just using ProLight as an example because it's something we have in stock. You could download all of that content onto your computer, but I've just downloaded the H30V corners and straight there, so you can see the difference in that. And then that means I can then take these bits of truss and insert them into the drawings as I need. And then again, if I go back up to I've inserted this into the untitled, so if we go back up into untitled again, I've now got the truss in that drawing with the associated truss record that it's brought in. If I use these a lot, what I have done is I've right clicked and I've added these to my favorites file. So the H30V corners and straight are in my favorites file, which means that I don't need to go digging around for them each time. The little star here is my favorites file, so I've only got the straight one in there. So if I go back to, it's a good example, Truss, ProLight, straight, there's the corners there. So if I add that to my favorites, and it's asking me just put it into root folder, that's fine. I can close this down again, and then my favorites I've got my corners and straight truss there that I use a lot. So the favourites is really, really useful. Things like workgroup libraries we don't tend to use very much. It'd be teams of people working together. And likewise, user libraries, it's not something that we use very much, but the favourites and the Vectorworks libraries are very, very useful, especially using favourites to pull things out that you use a lot, so you don't have to go digging around for them. The cloud stuff is for the cloud services, which again I don't have active on this at the moment. If you do, then there'll be other libraries. Vectorworks Server Select, I believe, has lots of online libraries which you have access to. This here is a really useful little feature. So browse a document is something that I'm not sure a lot of people know. So if I want to browse a document and say, here's one that I was looking at earlier, construction models, I can open up the construction models Vectorworks file. So I haven't actually opened it, I'm only looking inside it, and I see this steel deck foot thing that's been made before. I can grab that, place that into my drawing without having to open up the construction models drawing at all. I've only taken a resource from it and placed it into my drawing. Likewise, I could have placed it onto the stage. So by browsing, you can go and search for things within documents. So now within my Untitled 2, I have this steel deck foot plate here. Again, other things that we don't use very much is the search function. So if I was looking for ETC lights, for example, I'm not sure if it's capital or not, if it's, I can search there and this will pull up all the ETC lights within the Vectorworks libraries, and anything else with the ETC. There's all sorts of other power controls, so we can look for, again, I'm not endorsing ETC or anything like that, I'm just using that as an example of the search function. One thing that I was aware of, which is that we can add a tag to any of the symbols that we use. So within there, I could tag that steel deck. So that will mean that if I do a search, so steel deck's not going to be something that's, I don't think, again, this is a brand name, so I don't think it's anything that will appear in the Vectorworks libraries. So if I just search for steel deck, then the single item that I've tagged with steel deck can be found no matter where it is within my drawings. The other thing that I realised, that again, using the browse a document, and we go back into that construction models again, we have things like kind of platforms and walk-up treads. So again, if I wanted to bring that into my drawing, and I go back here, I can, there isn't any tags on this, I can add a tag called for tread. That would mean that, hopefully if I type it in tread, there you go, I've found walk-up treads and the for tread get off, and some other bits and pieces as well. So using the tags, I think, is something that we can do a bit better within our workflows. The search function that I'm using here, I can search through all resources, but if I was only looking for symbols and plugin objects and stuff, I can narrow down the search, so I won't get these tread plate textures. These tread plate textures, I only get the treads which are symbols. I still have this treadmill here, but again, I've narrowed it down a little bit. So have a play with the resource manager. It's a lot more powerful than I think we are using it for generally within RCS. I think the tags thing is really, really interesting and something that we could be doing a little bit more with. So let me know your thoughts, and thanks for listening.